Got it. Hopefully now everyone can hear me. What I was basically saying there was we were having some technical difficulties. And on top of that, it is basically 100 degrees in Los Angeles right now. And I am melting. I am absolutely melting. But I am, it's not the right word. I want to say like I'm glad to be here. But really what I mean by that is I'm glad to be able to speak up about everything that has been happening in the very public child star media, social media landscape. You're melting too. It's so nice to see everybody. I'm really glad that everybody is here and listening, because it's been an emotional roller coaster, not gonna lie. And, you know, it was giving me a bit of flashbacks from 2024 with Quiet on Set. I got it. My mom's like, no sound, but I'm guessing, is there sound, guys? Can someone just say, I can hear you? Just say, yes, Alexa, we can hear you. Just so I know. But anyways, it's giving me flashbacks from 2024 with Quiet on Set. And as a child star, former child star, whatever you want to call it, you know, I still feel like there's really only attention and exercise of that attention when something terrible is revealed publicly. And it has to be almost this very terrible thing to happen for, okay, amazing, you guys can hear me. It has to be this really terrible thing to happen, like a documentary, right? Let's say it's Quiet on Set. And let's say it's Drake Bell coming forward about Brian Peck, you know? And now we fast forward, we have Hayden Panettiere, who I worked with on the TV show called Heroes when I was younger. And, you know, she was saying a lot, man. She was talking, and this was all during her, I guess, her book tour. And she was talking about a lot. And I'm sure there were things that she didn't talk about, right? But she was talking about a lot. And I didn't see that many people sharing what she had to say until now. Until she is no longer, there were things that she here with us talk about, right? But she was talking about, am I now? A lot. Where am I? And I didn't, oh, there we go. Okay, now I'm hearing myself. I'm like, Jesus. Now she's no longer here with us. And I am seeing post after post after post of how much everybody loves Hayden and how much she was a part of our childhood and how she was speaking out about her personal experiences and how she was talking about the industry and this and that. And it's like, but the same type of posts weren't happening when they were happening. You know what I mean? They weren't happening. It wasn't happening. Sorry, I'm still kind of setting this up. I want to make sure that I'm up to speed with my live. But I mean, it's just the truth, okay? And it's not to fault the public. It's just that I don't think we are taking it seriously enough. And I think we also have, I mean, I'm sure so many people out there have so many other things to be focused on. And of course, there are so many issues happening at all times, political, you know, it goes on, that we don't have time. But what I find really interesting is when something extremely terrible happens or gets known to us, then we have all the time in the world. And as a former child star, watching everything that went down with Quiet on Set and the aftermath of all of that, and kind of just seeing it go back into the ether, man. It just really did go back into the ether. It was viral. It was trending. Trauma, by the way. It was everywhere. Everyone's support. Oh my God, I didn't know this was happening to the child stars we were watching on television. And then it just went away. It really did. And I also saw a lot of extreme bullying happening towards people that were part of speaking up and speaking out about the industry that they were exploited by. And it quickly turned into the individuals, and again, not looking at the institution that was supposed to protect us and protect them. Anyways, it's just been a pattern that I have been seeing for quite some time. And I'm not going to lie, it's not a great feeling. It's just not a great feeling. And I want it to change. And it's not even just for the present and future child stars that are in this industry. It is for the past ones. It is for the ones that are former child stars. And unfortunately, they're the ones displaying the impact of this industry. Like, sometimes you feel like a guinea pig, to be honest with you. And it takes a whole lot to tell the world about who you are today and how the industry that you grew up in impacted your life. It takes a lot. And to be honest with you, you have to remember this is an industry that these actors, these child actors, want to work in. They want to be respected in the industry that they feel passionate about. So it's a horrible choice to have to make when it's speaking up, speaking out, and trying to reform the industry so these things don't happen again, and then trying to work within it because let's say you love acting, let's say you love singing, you love the specific talents that you were given in this lifetime, and you're having to choose between these two things. And then you have the media, and then you have social media, and you have what everybody thinks about you doing everything, to be honest with you, including speaking out and speaking up about the industry. And then you get told when you are speaking out, and let's say you haven't really worked in this industry for a minute, you get told you're washed up, that you're trying to get attention. It's not like when you speak up and speak out, all of the kids that are now adults, for example, are welcoming these former child stars to speak up about what happened to them. In real time, what I am seeing is a mixture for sure of people supporting them and a whole lot of bashing. A lot of judgment. Oh, she's looking a little unwell. Like, is she a little high? Is she a little drunk? Is she a little... And it's like, you know what? This is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. Whatever you are seeing that's making you feel uncomfortable about a former child star now is most likely a result of the industry. Most likely a result of the industry that we all, in a lot of ways, financially reward and have financially rewarded as children. Not like we knew that when we were children and watching these TV shows, but that is just the truth. And to be honest with you, as much as it is about each individual who is a former child star and their personal story, really, I can't say enough that we need to focus on the institution. We need to focus on the corporation. We need to focus on proper reform within these systems to make sure this is not happening again. And it's horrible, because I know so many child stars, right? That they don't want the TV show that you love so very much, right? That you grew up on to be ruined. They don't. And I can promise you, even when it came to Zoe 101, showing up to set and being able to be on a show where the child could be the lead, right, was like a dream come true. And there were so many days where, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to be. And never in a million years did I think I was not protected there until I started realizing I wasn't. And then you get put into the situation, when you're older and you feel like you're having to rain on a parade or ruin a party that shouldn't even be your responsibility to begin with. You don't want to have to do that. But you learn at the end of the day that nobody within that industry or anyone else is going to do it for you. There is a day where you choose, you know what? I got to say something. I got to do it. And usually it comes from the intention of wanting to make sure that it doesn't happen again and that it never happens to somebody else. Sorry, it's so hot in here and I'm getting emotional. I'm like, why isn't this? Hopefully this works. And not many people are in our shoes. It's a niche group of child stars. Child stardom is a niche thing in general. It's not the whole world. Childhood is a whole world experience, right? Child stardom is a sector from childhood for sure, but it is not everybody's childhood. It's a very specific kind. And trying to explain what that's like almost feels like you're constantly trying to speak in a language you haven't even learned yet. And it's hard to do. And it's hard to get people to understand what happened. And it's hard to get people to care. But what I'm really having a real hard time about is seeing these former child stars unalive. Shouldn't have happened. Especially since I know as a former child star, that I know I gave my whole entire childhood to this industry. Your whole childhood is given to this industry and given to the world. And you know that when you're can't explain it. And I think at the end of the day, you want what you have given your childhood to care about you and to respect you and to support you, protect you. And if you have found an issue within it, that they are willing to get to the bottom of it to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. Right? Anyways, a lot of feelings about everything. And I'm exhausted. At the height of eatpredators, protesting, Nickelodeon the second time. And during Quiet on Set, all of a sudden there was like 6,000 people in my live and everybody fucking really acted like they cared. And to be honest with you, I don't see them here. It's the waves of the internet and the trends, and it worries me, because if we're constantly just in this flow of trends and what's going viral, we're our attention span is really slipping, and these issues are not going to change. And my biggest fear is that nobody is listening to child stars and former child stars while they're alive. There are so many articles here I have in tabs about child stars saying really scary things. Like, I really can't even begin to say. And it's in a headline for, I don't know, a week. And then everyone kind of forgets about it. I just want to see people actually care in real time. And I wish also the conversation wasn't always about the mental health of a child star, because I also do believe that there are a lot of former child stars that are also having big feelings about things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're mentally unwell or they're having mental health issues. But the first thing that gets thrown around online when a child star is having big feelings and is emotional about something, maybe angry, maybe livid, and going through the range of a real trauma response in real time, it goes back to, she's not looking, he's not looking so well, and like, I'm really worried about the mental health. It's like, you need to be worried about what the fuck we're talking about, okay? You need to start getting real worried about why we're here talking about this and why we're looking so upset and why we are having emotional breakdowns. But also the diagnosis online, which really, in my opinion, stems back to the height of the internet, the beginning of the internet with Perez Hilton. And we're not getting into that. But this like really tearing down of child stars' mental well-being. And you have to remember, like, I'm sure every single person here in the chat and around the world has had days, okay? Has had days where you're bawling, crying, you can't even get your words out, your hair's up, I don't know, okay? We've all had these days where we're feeling super emotional, can't speak. Now imagine if the whole world was videoing that moment for you, that isolated moment for you. And then the whole world can isolate that moment and generalize who you are through that specific moment in time. That's what it feels like all the time for extremely well-known, especially child stars, former child stars within the entertainment industry. They can't just even have a big feeling in peace without it being attached to their mental health. And then after a while, when you keep hearing the public talk about your mental health, what do you think it makes you feel like? It's not a good feeling. I'll tell you that much. Sure, it's not a good feeling. And instead, we really need to start having these conversations about why these, and I know it sounds like a mom statement to say, and I know I'm sounding like a real mom right now saying big feelings, and big feelings are okay, but for real, when these child stars, former child stars are starting to have big feelings about what has happened to them, and they are trying to communicate it with the public, I am praying to God that we really start to listen to them when they are here alive with us. So we can set that example, that we don't just start listening when something tragic has happened. Oh, I see somebody sent something. Glad that you're still fighting the good fight. Thank you. Jamal. Is it Jamal? Breezy? Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, this really took me out of not doing this ever again, to be honest. The things that even come along with what I've been doing is crazy and awful. And I really can't even begin. That's a whole other story. This is not easy. This is not easy. And so please listen to them when they are speaking to you about their own personal experiences that they only know, that you might not even fully understand. Because again, child stardom is a sector of childhood, but it's a very niche one. And so there's going to be times where you are not going to understand us, you know, and bear with it. And hopefully there can be a really good, I don't know, bridge there between our childhood and your childhood. That would be a beautiful thing. Really, really would. So I just want to show a quick, let me get out of here for a second. I want to show, I want to give a little intro into, Disney. Hi, Disney. Did you watch Quiet on Set? Seems like you missed that one. It seems like you did not watch Quiet on Set. But whatever. Here we are. And I kind of want to begin the chapter of Disney in this live stream by showing a clip of two former child stars that are no longer with us. So let's take a look. Let me make sure that everything is closed out here. So much work, honestly. Like, streaming is a whole, not doing it for a while, you guys. I'm like, where am I? Okay. Let me know if you can hear this, but this is my intro to talking about Disney.
Food's ready. That's 7:30 total, or 4:05 and 3:25. Or if you want to split it the other way, it's 175 and 5:55.
You can keep it all if you just stop doing that.
Oh, wow, I just paused it and it happened to just pause right there on Walt Disney. So I don't know if anybody knows what this movie is, but it came out in 2005. So bear with me. We're going to be really going through a journey here today. Okay, this is not going to be a quick live stream, and we're going through some chapters here to lead up to present day. So this is a movie called Ice Princess. Maybe the people in the chat can talk about who was in this film, and maybe we could send some hearts, by the way, in the chat for these two former child stars that are no longer with us that worked for Disney. So in the chat, if you guys want to start discussing and talking about it, let's just continue though. Let's watch Walt Disney's trailer.
For Casey Carlisle, getting A's was easy.
Whoa. Oh, come on. Like you didn't get an A? Not with the plus. Scary.
But fitting in.
I don't really go to parties.
You know, when you watch these trailers, right? You know, everything looks real glamorous. It looks like, wow. We got a movie about ice skating. We got two sweet girls in this film, and they're living their dream. And now we're probably going to go buy J14 magazine and read more about them and do the quizzes and then this and then that. And so this is what it looks like from the outside, right? This is what it looks like from the outside. This is what Disney, for example, looks like to the outside. And yes, rest in peace and rest in power.
sorry.
was nearly impossible.
Any way that I could take a few lessons?
Welcome to our snowplow sand class.
I'm going to the 2010 Olympics. Could you try not to, squish me?
Until the moment,
I bet there is an exact aerodynamic formula.
a twist of fate
So you guys are seeing what I'm seeing? We are seeing something probably so different, okay, than what was happening behind the scenes. On set, their personal lives, all of it. We're not seeing that. And even I remember when it came to Nickelodeon, that when we would do the BTS, because this was before we had, Instagram and all these different social media platforms, BTS was controlled by the network. So it'd be like Nickelodeon and their crew came on set and then we had to act again. Even when we were being ourselves, we knew we were on camera as ourselves representing the show and representing the network. Okay. So the BTS wasn't even the BTS because those that controlled the BTS was the network itself. And for example, there was no BTS clip of what was actually happening to me, for example, on the set of Zoe 101. You would never see that. The BTS to you as a kid was like, we're at PCA, whatever, and a boarding school, we're on the beach and it's hot and oh my God, and this and that. That's what you saw because it was controlled by the network. Controlled by the network. Controlled by the corporation. But the real BTS was never in front of the camera. It was happening behind it. And our stories and our lives and what happened to us, the real BTS, okay? We kept inside. And I'm going to tell you why we kept it inside. Oh my God. Christian. Hi, Christian. I'm going to tell you why we kept it inside. Because we were going for our dreams. And we knew that the minute that we raised our hand and said, something's not wrong, something's wrong, something's not right, the minute we did that, you know what we were deemed? Problematic, and we would lose our jobs, our dream. Because I know for sure there are children that were where it wasn't their passion. It wasn't something they were actually enjoying. And then there is a sector of child stars that were wanting to do theater, in school and really had a talent to them, right? And wanted to exercise that talent. I knew when I was younger, my dream was to be an actress. That dream's long gone for me, but I'm fine being right here, to be honest with you. I feel it's an honor to be where I am right now. But it was a dream. And even the thought of losing your dream when it's already been given to you, right? So it's no longer a dream. It's something that has now happened. You booked something. You're on the network that everyone's watching. Everyone's watching you. People are fan mailing you and the whole thing. The last thing, you guys, is you don't want to lose it. And you're a kid, not even understanding all the complexities of what I'm saying now as an adult. But all you know is you want to be here. And you know that you deserve to be here. And you don't know how to deal with that. And the one thing you do learn, though, is the second that you show a problem, point at one or Even say you gotta pee. I'm telling you, know how many times I've been on set and held and didn't go to the restroom because I know that we're overtime right now, and that everyone's telling you we're overtime. And as a kid, you're getting told that I could almost pee in my pants. There were days where I actually have a memory of that, being like, oh my God, I hope I don't pee in my pants. That's fucked. It's fucked. And it's like what a kid's balancing there. But it's a dream, okay? And it's a dream for kids to be given that and know that it could also be taken away. And you're constantly learning the behavior that you have to display to keep the company that's part of your dream happy, chill, and to make sure that you're able to continue your dream. And it's fucking crazy. I'm not going to lie. It is really just an insane process to have to deal with as a child. And it really shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. But I did learn very quickly that the minute that I presented an issue to the people that were above me at Nickelodeon, for example, I felt punished by that. I felt punished by that. And when we're talking about children, and we're talking about children on set, surrounded by a bunch of adults, these adults are supposed to be setting an example for these children, but also in a lot of ways, all of these adults are in some way or another, I kind of believe like they're guardians. Or that's how you feel. You look at the adults around you and you think everyone's looking out for your well-being, your best interest. And then you quickly find out that's not the case. You quickly find out like, wait a minute, that's not the case. And so here we have Ice Princess, right? And we've lost both of those lead actresses from that movie. And they were both child stars. And we obviously all love them so dearly when it comes to our childhoods, and they are no longer here. And there were a lot of things said either when it was not said, when it was said, to let us know that the industry played a huge part in their development. Huge. Juan, so nice to see you. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing for being here. It makes me sick to my stomach because this needs to change. We need serious reform. I don't even want children in the industry. I'm so angry. Whatsoever, I don't. I don't even want children in the industry. But that seems also like an issue that we can't really tackle right now. Kids are going to be in the industry, and it's like, how do we make sure that they are safe? But to be honest with you, almost I feel like before we can even do that, we really need to understand and listen to former child stars and their stories and what they have to say. And we really need to show the present and the future child stars that we listen. As a society, as a community, that we are listening to what they have to say, and we don't sit there and nitpick how they're saying it, okay? We don't nitpick, diagnose them and this and that. You don't need to do that, okay? Like, what are, let's not be TMZ here. Let's listen, get the information in, and think about it. And start to really think about it. And what can we do? And how are we participating maybe within this system that's not necessarily helpful? So now I have to show another child star that I also knew growing up. It's horrible. Like it's actually disgusting to be like, and here's another one, and oh, yep, here's another one. Ugh. So there is also, let's put a lot of hearts in the live comment section for also DeVay. So we have DeVay as well, who is no longer with us. I'm not going to go into the details of each of these individuals passing because I just can't even stomach it right now. But I do want to just point out, here we have 3 child stars who are no longer with us. And I do feel like their passings have left a real impact, I hope, on how the public is not only viewing them in a lot of ways, but also the industry that they grew up in and the stories they had to tell or didn't tell, like the ones that they kept within them for so long and were probably never going to hear. But we're seeing a real fucking problem here, okay? We're seeing a problem. We're seeing a pattern. We're seeing a problem. And I stood in front of Nickelodeon a while ago in 2022, and I said, apologize. I said, apologize. 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 Apologize to what happened. And you know what? They did kind of, but only when something really terrible happened, right? Like publicly, like quiet on set, like, right? And then all of a sudden Nickelodeon makes this statement that I think is a bunch of I still do. Sorry to be immature and childlike, but it was, in my personal opinion, damage control, right? And they probably had to go call all of their crisis PR people and and the house is on fire. And they had to come up with a statement. And what I really hate about these child star networks and their personal statements when they have to say something is it's always, now all the safeguards are here and, you know, we don't know how that happened, but like and it's like, and it's just this negating of what did happen though. It's like, okay, I get it. You started putting some safeguards in. Probably not enough. We'll have to wait for these child actors to get older, okay? We're learning from them usually. It's not like the network is the ones freaking teaching us shit. They're not telling us, oh, so this happened and we just learned this and just want to let everybody know we're not going to do that again. No, it's always a former child star having to do the emotional labor of teaching the public what happened, and then these things happen. Then the safeguards get put into place. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what I really don't like is this negating of what has happened. And it's like, well, this isn't going to happen again. And it's like, you know, dude, but it did. And I personally care about what has happened at the possible hands of your alleged negligence. I do care about what happened in the past. And I sure hope that the future and the present is a whole lot better than that past. But we can never escape our past, can we? Look at what I just showed you a minute ago. None of us can. We'll never be able to escape our past. You know how many new legal teams and new set people, etc., are now working for Disney and Nickelodeon? You know how the people when we were growing up, they're older now. They're like in their 60s, 70s. They're not working for these companies anymore. Now you have new people working there that weren't even there when you were there, right? They don't give a fuck about us. Just like the ones that were present didn't give a fuck about us then. And you better believe the ones that never got to know us, didn't get to eat lunch with us, didn't see us at Crafty, they're sure as hell not going to care about us because they didn't care about us when they were eating with us on set. or bringing us to and from set. They were always in a who's number one on the call sheet. Oh, okay, we got to be there at this time. Oh, we're working overtime. Can you work one more hour? We'll pay you overtime. Or maybe don't tell anybody about overtime. And you're a child like, what? What? As my mic literally is hanging off. Literally hanging off the entire desk. I'll just hold it. That's fine. I have no problem just holding this microphone now. But you know what I mean? They didn't care about us really then. And let me tell you, there's a whole mixed bag of people on set. So it's not like all these people are trying to purposefully endanger children, okay? It's like, sorry, I'm still laughing about this microphone. It's not like everybody there is like, ooh, like trying to endanger children. No. That's not what it is. Some people are just getting through the thing, but then you have people who are on top, your bosses above. And those individuals are supposed to be the ones that are making sure that proper protocol is happening, that safeguards are really put into place, and that proper protections are happening when these kids are on set. And location is a different story as well, which we're going to get into today. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the mouthpiece of these fucking corporations, man, they're not even written by they're all like, it's not, you know what I mean? When it comes to the forward-facing statements and how they present themselves to the public is, to me, it's like all corporations where a corporation doesn't have a face. Doesn't. It never did. But it always uses a face or many to hide behind. And sometimes to get agendas done without being able to pinpoint where it came from. And also to be able to move throughout time and be timeless. Like, for example, what is the symbol of Disney? What has been so timeless all of these years? All right, so, I can't believe this microphone is literally not even on my desk. Hopefully I can put it back on. Okay. Let's see if I can do it. I did it. Look at what you can accomplish on your own. Okay, so let's go into a couple of things. So now we've established child stars. We've established, true, they didn't want to piss off their boss. I mean, adults have a hard time going to their boss sometimes. Am I correct? Adults. Now let's picture children in these situations where not only are they your boss, they're also like, I don't know, 3-4 times your age. They're the ones who are supposed to know better, and they're literally the adults to you. Not just the boss, the adult. Right? I do have a mic stand. It's on my desk, but it slipped off. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about a child star that is alive. Okay? One that is speaking up, speaking out through a current lawsuit that is against Disney itself. And, you know, this one really, The former child star is Raquel Lee. And Raquel Lee was a child star on the set of Nickelodeon, and she was in The Amanda Show. Who can remember Raquel? Who in the chat can remember Raquel? From that show. I'm about to lay out a bunch of other shows, but let's start really at the beginning of Raquel. Yes. And Raquel was also part of Quiet on Set, right? Yeah, she was. She was part of Quiet on Set. Was she talking about this on Quiet on Set? No. This is something new, right? But Raquel, you know, I'm seeing so many articles that are showing Raquel now. And we're seeing photos of Raquel now. But really what I want you to be this entire time when I'm talking about Raquel is to imagine her when you saw her the first time on screen. 13, 14-year-old Raquel. Okay. Because that's who we're talking about today. Oh. Hopefully the camera goes back on. It's so hot in here. Is it on? Hopefully it is. My camera's bugging out. Okay, so Raquel. And Raquel happens to be, and I do want to say right here, Raquel is a very, very close friend of mine. And she is an incredible, beautiful, strong, inspiring individual. So also keep that in mind when we are talking about this lawsuit. So let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Okay, where are you? Deadline. All right. Okay, let's look at this. I wonder who at Disney is having to watch this stream. Hope you are. Okay, let's look at this. It says, Poof Point actress Raquel Lee's negligence suit claims Disney knew about on-set R word and did nothing. Not safe for children. Let's take a look at this. So here's the individuals that were in the Poof Point. So we have Mark Curry here playing the dad. We got Raquel Lee, we got Dawn Lewis, and Taj Mowry. And I'm going to guess, isn't Taj Mowry the person who is a sibling of the girls from, is that from Sister Sister? Wait, I'm just trying to get it right. Maybe somebody in the chat. Yes, child stars do deserve better. And let me tell you something, every child deserves better. Like I said, childhood, child stardom, child stardom is a sector of childhood, but it is different. But at the end of the day, we're talking about children, and the same way that these child stars, lives matter. Every single child's lives matter. Just the truth. Just the truth. Okay, yeah, he's sibling. Okay, so he is. Okay, got it. All right, let's go back to this. Let's check it out. All right. So the Poof Point star Raquel Lee claims an extremely graphic negligence suit against the Walt Disney Company that she was repeatedly essayed. I'm not going to go through that. And SH. On the Utah set of the 2001 movie when she was 14 years old. 14, you guys. 14. Again, these are allegations. But let's listen to these allegations. She's 14. 14. The House of Mouse knew about it. The House of Mouse. Oh yeah, isn't that the face of Disney? Knew about it and did nothing to stop the VIOLENCE. The quiet on set, the dark side of the kids' TV participant says, John Doe, Mr. Doe. So the guy who was, I guess, mentioned, the alleged predator, was John Doe in this suit. And it goes, an on-set, adult, middle-aged male employee of Disney who was involved in the filming of the movie states the August 21 filing in Los Angeles Superior Court on behalf of Lee, now Raquel, okay, we know, with intentional vagueness about the alleged predator. So they're taking notice that the alleged predator's name was John Doe, right? Mr. Doe's SA of, I'm going to call her my Miss Lee, was apparent to the adults on Disney's set. Defendant Disney repeatedly failed. Disney facilitated and concealed Mr. Doe's severe SA. So what is it? What does concealment mean, right? So like this lawsuit in general, what is negligence to you? Like I really want us all to start thinking about maybe even our own personal work experiences as adults. What do we feel would be classified as negligent, right? That word is a real important one to think about. And what is negligence? What is it exactly? And what is it to you? And maybe think about an experience in your life where you felt you could have been better taken care of, where you felt that maybe safeguards weren't properly placed in an environment. Really start thinking about what that word negligence means, because it's going to show up a lot. Okay. So we got Disney's set was not safe for children. The unspecified money judgment seeking complaint from New York-based Wigder LLP says, I actually don't like this. Deadline, I'm going to have a quick chat with you. Hold on. This gets really difficult sometimes. This is another reason why I feel like a lot of survivors, you know, especially in this industry, don't want to come forward. Because it's always about the money. The money. And let me tell you something really quickly, okay? I don't even want to get into the criminal world, okay? The crime, like the police, the detectives. I don't even want to get started with what I've personally witnessed over there and how terrible it is for survivors. I mean, freaking terrible. Terrible. Now, though, if we're talking about fast forwarding into a present day situation, right? I don't think people really understand what do you think a civil suit is? A civil suit, for example, is not one that is going to result in a jail time, you know, any of those things, right? At the end of the day, it's about an injury. It's about something that has happened. It's about how can this person, what are the damages here? How do you even put the damages together when you think about something like this? What I really hate though is this constant, it's about the money. Because a civil suit, when we're talking about two men suing each other because of a stupid fight they had about a business deal they made, you know, you don't really necessarily feel this hint at, oh, so-and-so is trying to get just the money. You know, it's like, it's more made fun of the dispute of it, sure, but it's not this like, there's just a hinting. I see it all the time, and I'm not really personally a fan of the hinting at survivors when they come forward where it's becoming about money. There's just something about it that really is just not a good feeling. And I don't want survivors to feel like that when they come forward in a civil litigation that they have to be known as somebody who is going after money. It's like, no, that is what a civil suit is. The only thing you can get from civil suits is it is a financial situation. Like, what are you going to get? It's a judgment. You're going to get a guilty, not guilty, verdict, and then there is going to be damages. There is going to be amount of money. It's the same thing as getting into a car accident. It's the same thing as anything. But I don't want survivors to feel that is constantly the question when it comes to speaking up and coming forward. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Okay, so let's keep going because we're going to get to the recent news about the person. So from New York-based Wigder LLP says regarding what Lee faced on the Disney Channel film starring Mark Curry and directed by Neil Israel. And then it goes on to say Proof Point, which centered on a case of kooky time-traveling scientists hanging with Mr. Cooper's Curry and Dawn Lewis and their kids Lee and Taj Mowry, claiming the visible upheavaled teen was also at the receiving end of tirades from Disney execs at the time over her performance. The filing strategically invokes the much accused, much convicted, and incarcerated Harvey Weinstein, among others, with the ex-Miramax kingpin. Okay, we get it. This person strategically. Disney has caused irreparable and devastating harm and must be held accountable, the action claims. Defendant failed to use reasonable care in investigating the circumstances on set and did nothing to reasonably investigate, supervise, or monitor and or terminate Mr. Doe to ensure the safety of child actors. Contracted by Deadline on Sunday, Disney has no comment on the suit or the accusations within it. That's not surprising. Even more so with the amount of time that has passed since the alleged incidents and people involved who are no longer at Disney. In terms of situation-specific timeline, the Josh D'Amaro led Disney heard about this sordid case. It was in June. Sources say that was when Doug Wigder and Jamie Kim approached Disney in the hopes of settling out of court. Clearly, the parties couldn't reach a satisfactory deal. Which is also clear is that while Disney may or may not have first heard of the horrors Lee went through in 2001, just a few months ago, this past week's for-claim action is not the first time the actress has engaged lawyers about the fallout from Proof Point. Okay, so is everyone following this? Does anyone have any questions about what's going on here? Also, again, I'm hearing this thing again, though. It's like, the people that were from, Disney are not there anymore. It's like, yeah, bro, we get it, for sure. But we're talking about something that is being alleged to have happened, right? Like, we are talking about something that allegedly happened here. So, cool, we get that this is now, but this was then, and it is impacting now, right? Now, this is somebody's current day-to-day dealing with what you would just consider as the past. The past. Okay, cool. So we got it. So Deadline has learned that in 2015, a Gloria Allred represented... Isn't Gloria Allred also being... I'm pretty sure that she's being investigated by the bar right now or something. I'm pretty sure I don't know. I'm pretty positive... for another day, I guess. But anyways, Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred represented Lee, negotiated a confidential settlement for a small amount of money. Now here it says a small amount of money. So what could that be? Obviously, this is really insinuating that it wasn't that much money, right? And it says with a male who worked on the film. So like, who is this person? The male in question was represented by Venable partner William Biggs. Let's actually hold on. I want to see who this person is because recently, hold on. We'll get into it a different time, but I do want to always show who these people are. Okay, so William Biggs, Venable, cool. Let's see who it is. Okay. All right. Okay. So here is William J. Briggs. Okay. And this is apparently a partner this is a partner at Venable. And you know what? This person was really familiar. And I'm going to tell you why this person's familiar. Because I'm pretty sure from this law firm, yes, and this person signed off on it, William Briggs, when it came to the Brandon Quinn allegations. I don't know if anybody remembers Brandon Quinn, but he is somebody who is in Sweet Magnolias. He's on Netflix. And I got sent these. Anyways, long story short, I'm sure the people that are in this chat remember who this individual is. And when I got sent a cease and desist about Mr. Quinn, it came from Venable, and I saw that William Briggs was the individual who was CC'd and signed on the CC of it. Okay. And, but just, Brandon Quinn was accused of a very specific thing, and it had to do with a 15-year-old girl. Okay. So we William Briggs is back again. Here he is. All right. So now we're getting who this guy is. Let's continue. Okay. So Allred has no comment on the settlement or anything to do with it. When he was contacted by Deadline, Biggs did not respond. It says did not respond. You might want to check that Deadline. It's respond to Deadline's request for comment. Details of the previous settlement and the exact sum paid out are under lock and key, hence likely the John Doe in the new civil complaint. However, the presence of Allred, well known for her work with SA survivors, could be an indication of the nature of the 2015 case. Okay, so this is 2015, you guys. Let's talk about 2015. This was pre-Me Too movement. Me Too movement, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Me Too movement was in late 2016, early 2017, right? Pretty positive. So this is 2015. So, okay. A long time ago. Thinking about 2015 and it's like before and after of so much, you know what I mean? Like 2015. This reminds me of when, let's see, I was 20 in 2015. I'm 31 now. It was a while ago, but still young. Okay, so let's look at this. As for the latest action, the law has changed in Lee's favor. So this is really important here, okay? Let me kind of zoom in on this. Oh, God, I hate when it does that. Where was it? Yeah, this though. The law has changed. So what does that mean? So, okay, if Raquel dealt with this matter privately, we're talking about 2015, right? You have to think about all the different laws that were in place, I guess, during that time, and what statutes, et cetera, all these things come into play for reported survivors, for survivors coming forward about, what has happened to them. They are bound to the law, at the time of them coming forward. And so if you look back at 2015, there was, I'm going to guess, being time barred for a good chunk of it here, right? And so fast forward, we got all these different laws that have passed, AB 218, 217, then 2777. All these new laws have passed that have opened up the statute for survivors, right? Like, for example, for Cassie with P. Diddy. And these are laws now happening that are opening up the window for survivors to go get justice from the perpetrator. And then you also, the institutions possibly that were also either enabling, whatever. These things are not always opened up when a survivor is coming forward. For example, when these windows close, then they're closed. And now these types of lawsuits will not be able to happen again, right? So there's a lot of people think that survivors can just kind of like walk on in and be like, boom, 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 boom. And like justice all of a sudden just comes in a little basket. And like, no, dude, none of this. There's a lot of moving pieces that survivors have to go through. So, okay, here we go. Whereas in the past, it would have long exhausted the statute of limitations. Here we go. But under a 2020 California measure, survivors of child SA now have up until their 40th birthday, okay, to file a civil claim. A 2023 addition to that 2020 law removed any statute of limitations for civil claims of childhood SA survivors that occurred on or after January 1, 2024. All right. So windows have opened up here, right? Opened up. Under the law as it stands, a plaintiff can claim triple actual damages if it is proven a company like Disney, institution, or persons were aware of the ASSAULTS and ABUSE and choose to conceal what was happening. A state of affairs that is precisely what Lee is saying Disney did in her case on Poof Point. Again, like that's why it's important for us to really also start having this conversation around like in our work environments, right? Like what do we see as negligent? What is this? What is the feeling of not feeling protected by the job that you are working for, the work environment that you are working for? What does that mean to you? What is that exactly? Let's keep going. These attorneys did not comment today. Over the last decade, countless child actors have come forward to bravely share their experience of ABUSC by adults in entertainment. Said Wigder and Kim, as former government prosecutors, our message to the entertainment industry is simple. This conduct is inexcusable, and those involved directly or indirectly must be held accountable. Now, there was something that I read in Raquel's lawsuit that was about Raquel being sick in the sense of we got day one, week one of working on the Poof Point, right? And then we got towards the end and Raquel was showing signs of sickness, like being physically ill, showing signs of very probable trauma responses, right? And when you're working with children, it really took me back to me working at Nickelodeon, because when that whole thing happened for me, with, you know, the Britney Spears trailer situation, and again, Britney Spears has apologized. So for those that have not been kept up with everything, we've moved on from this situation. But to talk about how Nickelodeon behaved during that time, which they have not apologized to me, they wanted me to just go right back on set. I mean, I was throwing up by the toilet. I had to look at Dan Schneider at this, literally by the toilet. Like I was literally in fetal position. And Dan's coming in, you know, and they were like, to go back on set. I had to go back and work. They didn't even really know all the details. But like, get back on set, right? And so anyways, when I was reading that in the complaint that allegedly there were no one investigating or seeing why is this child on our set all of a sudden sick, this, that, showing different behavior, showing behavior that was unlike them from the beginning, all these different things, it really reminded me of how I witnessed Nickelodeon behaving. Couldn't help. You know, of course, this is you start to think about the things that have happened to you when something reminds you of something that's happened to you. And so, again, that was very scary to think about, especially as a mom, you know, when we're thinking about just children. And at any time that your children or a child is showing signs that they are not doing well, all you care about is making sure that they get taken care of and that people care for their well-being around them. But apparently what was alleged in the lawsuit was that they made her feel like a problem. And let me tell you something. Again, these are allegations, right? And I'm going to only be able to speak from my personal experience. which I'm going to. Disney. I felt like the problem too. I actually got told I was the problem when I came forward about the toxic work environment that I was experiencing while I was working at Nickelodeon. I'm going to tell you right now, the immediate feeling after doing that was that I was the problem. I mean, literally, for example, Dan told me in the room, this is not Nicole 101, it is Zoe 101. You're like, bro, how old are you, by the way? Sorry, it just reminded me. How old are you? And this is with execs in the room. Like, I was brought into Nick on Sunset. Yeah, it was Nick on Sunset. Pretty positive. Yeah. And these were adults in the room, and I was just not treated well, terrible what happened to me, and was ongoing for quite some time. And then they bring me into a room and then disconnect me from my mom, right? And then I'm in the room with all these execs, and instead of going, hey, we want to get to the bottom of this. We want to make sure that all the kids are feeling good on set, and how can we make this better? And being fucking adults. I literally witnessed them do the opposite. I saw them make me feel like a problem, and it was terrible. I was bawling, crying in that room. I felt absolutely awful. It scarred me for a very long time, clearly, right? It's so fresh to me. You can tell. And that's okay that it is. I have a big feeling about it. But I witnessed that myself. So when I'm reading that in a complaint, I can't help but go, possible? Possible? Real possible. To the point where I personally experienced that. But at Nickelodeon, another network. And you know what happened? I ended up having to leave that show. And you know what Nickelodeon did? Like, I had beef with this Nickelodeon. But you know what Nickelodeon did? They told my agent that since I had to remove myself for safety reasons, right? Like, literally, this was awful. You know what they said? They said, she's not allowed at the Kids' Choice Awards, though, ever again. Who's the child? Dude, that is literally how I experienced that. I got punished. It felt like a punishment to speak up for myself and to also remove myself from that situation. So all of that hard work that I did for Nickelodeon wasn't treated properly, right? And how instead of going, we wish Alexa well, they could have never invited me to the Kids' Choice Awards again, by the way. They could have done that. But they wanted to make sure that I knew that as a kid. Adults running a children's network wanted a 12-year-old girl to remember that, hey, because you spoke up for yourself and you want to remove yourself from that situation, you don't get to be a part of this network anymore. There are consequences for that. And this is the only bearings I can get when I'm reading something like this, okay? I could only think about my own experience and go, what did I see? And that's why it's really important to listen to former child stars, because we only know these things. We only know our own stories, our own experiences, and we're trying to communicate it to sometimes people that have no freaking, no idea what this is. It is horrible. Okay, so, all right, let's pull up for a second what the poof point, right? Who has watched the poof point? And by the way, Raquel is also in the Proud Family. So many different projects Raquel has done. I'm very curious which ones you know her from. But who has watched the poof point? Yes, and that's another thing. And when you're on these sets, there's a hierarchy, okay? Actually, and that kind of pulls us into more about this story, because there's also the hierarchy on set. Like, you very quickly know as a kid the call sheet. And the call sheet is basically who is first going to come up on the screen, the second person who's going to come up on the screen during the credits, right? So you have this call sheet, And you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And the person who's number one, right, is number one. Even when you think about number one symbolically, it's like this person is number one. And number one is like, is all the way up there. And then everybody really knows their place going underneath that. And as a kid, imagine if you went to school every day and instead of meeting Stephanie next to you and this person next to you, you knew what number they were on a basically almost like a caste system, but like a list of priority. It's really a list of priority. Yes, it's a list of credits externally, but in the set dynamic, it's priority based. It lets you know who is number one priority, number two priority, number three priority, and so forth, okay? So imagine being on set and you're also, let's say you're dealing with somebody who's 1 and you're 2, or they're 1 and you're 3, it creates a whole thing. Imagine it at school though. I always try to explain that to people that have never grew up in the industry. Like really imagine going to school the first day and instead of just meeting Stephanie and this person, you are meeting them with numbers next to them. And it's really the number of the priority they are at that in that environment that you are now stepping into. It's crazy. Wild out there. Okay, so we got the poof point, right? So here, let's pull it up. All right, so here's the poof point. It was a film on the Disney Channel. We're talking about 2001. Whew. Okay, very different time back then. And here we go. We got the cast members. We see here Raquel Lee. We see Mark Curry, Taj Mowry, Dawn Lewis, and I didn't even know she was in it. So interesting. Anyways, so the poof point, Disney show. What's really interesting though about this specific set environment was that it was shot on location in Utah, right? And for those that don't really understand how that works, I'm going to kind of break it down, even though it's 200 degrees in here. Let me break it down. So when you are going out of state, right, to work on a project, you obviously, as a minor, need to go to that location with a parent or a guardian because you're a minor, right? So you can't go anywhere without, supervision from either a parent or a guardian. And apparently here, when it comes to this lawsuit, Raquel, her mom was working, right? And this is another thing that people really have to understand. Not all these parents, by the way, A, are stage moms, okay? They're, you know what I mean? And B, not all of these parents are like living vicariously through their kid. It would be the same. Sometimes I try to compare it like this. You know, the parents that you see dropping off their kid at the soccer game, you know, and sometimes they leave the child with the other parent. And then they have to go make dinner for the other kid, but they're supporting their kid's dream because their kid loves soccer and like whatever it is, and they're dropping off. This is sometimes the environment on these sets is not all these parents are living vicariously through these children. They are also seeing that their kid is loving something, seeing that this thing lights their child up, feels like this is going to be a safe place because it's supposed to be, and back then you have to remember there was no stories about former child stars like there is today. Really not. It was really like, oh my God, you got your kid into the industry and they're working. Like there was no like, people forgot about Judy Garland and Shirley Temple, and these things were not being spoken about when I was younger. No one ever mentioned Judy Garland and these younger child stars from old Hollywood. Never. It was forgotten. And it was a different time. And now the set environments were supposed to be extremely different and safe and blah, 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 blah. Now they're not giving you happy pills anymore. But apparently they are. And like, whatever, right? It's supposed to be different times. And so when you think about some of these parents, not all of them are the way that you think they are. Okay? There is a mixed bag. And I really want to make that clear because it's so easy a lot of the time to go after the parents, the people around them, that family, you know. You don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces in each individual person's story when it comes to the industry. Not all of them have a problematic parent. Okay? So apparently in this lawsuit, the parent was working. The parent was not there. The parent had to get a guardian, right? And I just want to say, like for example, when I did Children of the Corn, okay, there was legit, I had a guardian on set that was my friend, okay? They never went up to him and said, these are the rules of the guardian. This is how you need to blah, 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 blah. This is what you're entitled to know. This is what you're entitled to do. This is your role here. No. None of that. The random person, honestly, can just be like, I'm just here to make sure they are on set and they get back to their hotel, right? But something that you guys need to understand, which is fucking crazy to think about, is that we got our own hotel room, you guys. Not if we were with our parent. I don't think. I know. But if we were with a guardian, we had our own hotel room with no supervision. Teenagers, own hotel room, no supervision. Think about that. Think about you that to me personally, now that I look back at it, that really does open up a serious door for someone to take advantage of that. 100%. Like, that is absolutely alarming, right? Absolutely alarming. The person can call from the hotel room phone. Now we got cell phones that gain access to teenagers. It is like, woo. Yes. They did apparently separate on set, the guardian. Yeah. But also you have to remember, it's already kind of naturally separated on these with this is how it was functioning. This is what's really scary about it, is it's not only separating in these other ways, it's also just the way that the industry, right? Because for me, it was Children of the Corn, and that was what? Sci-fi, right? And then we have Disney. They would separate us from our guardian at night in our own room, isolated. And we're talking about 12, 13, 14. It's very concerning. It is absolutely concerning. And of course, that can, again, it really can open up and be seen, opportunities there for someone to exploit it. You know, that's really scary. And again, I really can't begin to tell you like my own personal experiences when it came to having a guardian on set. I mean, the guardian, like, no one even knew what the fuck it was. It was more like, stay out of our way. Like, that's how I remember it, is like my guardian had to stay out of everyone's way. When really that's not how a guardian is supposed to, right? It's supposed to be kind of being in the way a little bit, not unnecessarily, but in the way that's like, there's a kid around. There's a minor around. I am going to be in the way a little bit. And the guardian didn't get told how they can move around the set and the ways that they can move around the set. And that is a problem. You know, personally, when we're talking about children, when we're talking about minors, that is an absolute issue. It just is. And again, open door for something terrible to happen. Really. Okay, so we got Poof Point. Oh my God, my soda is so hot already. It's like, okay, so let's move on. So we now know that the father in this movie was a guy named Mark Curry. So who knows who Mark Curry is? Let's get into Mark Curry. Mark Curry. Mark. Let me see. Mark Curry. All right. What do you guys remember? Okay, so Mark Curry, he's old. He's older. He was in a show called Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. I don't know who remembers this show. Looks like it started. Oh, I was born in 1992. So the show started in 1992 up into 1997. Maybe let's watch a little clip of. Oh, you can put it there. Yeah, I'll go. I can't get up. My mom's so sweet. Could see that I'm in desperate need of something cold, and so she's bringing me, but my door is locked. Okay, so let's get into Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Let's learn a little bit about Mark Curry, and yeah, here we go. Okay, wait, can we just talk about that for 1 second? Let's rewind. I just want to, men in the, how men are portrayed in the industry is so very different. Look at the male and female role here. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to go back. Okay. So right away we got the basketball. Okay, so we got the masculinity, yada, yada, yada. And then what do you see right away? Women have to be surrounding him. Isn't that so interesting? I don't know. It's something that I see a lot, especially in like the 90s, like early 2000s. It was very much like dude, girls, you know, and like kind of surrounded by them in a very, I don't know, just an interesting way. Okay, here we go. Let's a little bit more of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Wait, Don Lewis. Hold on. So wait, Don Lewis was in the Poof Point, and so was Mark Curry. I did not know that. That's wild. Okay, so two people from Hanging with Mr. Cooper end up in this movie that is called The Poof Point, that now fast forward, we're learning allegedly what it could have been like allegedly to hang out with Mr. Cooper. I'm sorry, that's just bizarre. All right, so he's throwing the basketball. The women are doing the thing. We get it. Okay, so Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I actually never watched this show. I don't know it. I was too young. I was literally born in 1982, so I just never saw this show. But anyways, this is who Mark Curry is. And then fast forward, we get into the Poof Point. And now let's read an article that I think was released today that basically talks about the settlement that was in the Deadline article, who the two parties were, Lee and allegedly Mark Curry. So let's take a look at that article for a second so we can kind of get the details of what happened there. Okay, let's get into this. All righty. Okay, here we go. Raquel Lee reached secret settlement with Mark Curry years before suing Disney over alleged essay. And again, for people that are coming in here that are trying to figure out, like, how does one settlement over there happen and then this other one later? This has to do with what we've been reading is like statute of limitations. There's time bars. Like, you know, there's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to survivors holding perpetrator, anybody accountable, really. So there is going to be things up against them that they are having to be at the whim of, to be honest with you. And it looks like that when this one happened, this was when that other statute that I was just showing you a minute ago was not opened up for someone like Raquel, right? So this is that. And now fast forward, we got this window that opened up when it comes to institutions, yada, yada, right? And then now this is happening. So if you're trying to understand why there's two, that's what's going on there. Okay. So the 2015 private resolution between the actors has surfaced after the actress claimed in court that the company was negligent in protecting her against SA when she worked on the Poof Point at 14 years old. So this is Mercury now, Raquel. The former child actress Raquel Lee has sued the Walt Disney Company for negligence, alleging an unidentified middle-aged male employee who was involved in the filming of the 2001 Disney Channel original movie, The Poof Point. We got that. The Hollywood Reporter has separately learned that Lee reached a confidential settlement agreement with actor Mark Curry in 2015. He played her father in The Poof Point. He played her father. Ooh. I'm sorry. I have to take a second there. The one being alleged to have done this to Raquel played her father in the movie. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Lee and Curry didn't respond to inquiries about the settlement. Allred had no comment. Disney previously declined to speak about Lee's litigation against the company. Curry, who was 40 when he made The Poof Point, is best known as the star of ABC's popular 1990s sitcom Hangin' with Mr. Cooper, which ran for 5 seasons as part of the network's, the TGIF block, a stand-up comedian. He also was one of the hosts of the syndicated It's Showtime at the Apollo and had a recurring role on the Drew Carey Show as Carey's boss. Lee participated in the hit 2024 docuseries Quiet on Set, which we've been discussing already. She didn't speak about her Poof Point claims for Quiet on Set. However, after the program aired, she explained that Drake Bell's admission he suffered on set, SA, was re-traumatizing for her. Now, this is pretty crazy because you have to remember, you guys, when we did the documentary for Quiet on Set, we didn't know Drake Bell was in this documentary. We didn't. We didn't know Drake Bell was in. His story was not told to us, right? Was not. And we found out alongside, again, that's why what pisses me then you got Quiet on Set. We think we're safe over there with this documentary company that's making a documentary about exploiting, child stars, and then we get exploited by them. In my personal opinion, totally. All of a sudden it's a trauma tour for that fucking company. Disgusting, honestly. Really, when I think back at Quiet on Set, I don't have many good things to say just because of how they went about that. That, to me, it really disgusts me, okay? So anyways, let's talk a little bit more, though, about that setup there, okay? We didn't know. I knew a little bit more because mine had to do, I was talking about Dan Schneider and there was all these very specific details. I didn't know about Drake Bell, but I did know that there was conversation about that. You know what I mean? Raquel, no. And she went pretty public on TikTok and on Instagram, I think on Instagram, about her personal journey while doing the documentary Quiet on Set. And do you guys remember the TikTok videos? I mean, she was upset. She was upset, physically feeling the upsetness. And that's how her and I connected. But now looking back at this, how wild it is. So let's say Raquel, right? She's in this settlement from 2015. Okay. Then she's in a documentary that's about, ends up being about what she thinks, okay, a little how we can change in the industry for child stars, not like heavy, not knowing about Drake Bell, not knowing about X, Y, and Z. Then having this all inside, right? Then fast forward with the rest of the world listening to Drake Bell sitting down telling his story. Think about that. So when she says, just funny, like, I can't even with this right now. Okay. Now looking back, I mean, yeah, I could only imagine that would be re-traumatizing, right? I could only imagine that quiet on set would be absolutely re-traumatizing for somebody that is saying that this has happened to them, or holding that inside, having that trauma inside of them. I mean, okay. So just wanted to because I know in the lawsuit it talks about that, and I really wanted to explain that because it was very real. We did not know what we were about to be faced with and what we were going to have to listen to. And it rocked a lot of our worlds. Okay. So we got Lee's lawyer in the new litigation against Disney is Doug Wigder. He's a plaintiff's employment and misconduct specialist whose clients, and we went into that. Lee contends in her suit that the perpetrator, who regularly made blank explicit jokes and commentary on the set around minors, I can't say it, her on several occasions in his room at a hotel where the film's cast and crew stayed during production in Salt Lake City, as well as during a flight back to Los Angeles. It also maintains he harassed her on set in plain view of coworkers, including sound technicians managing the cast's microphones. Everyone hear that? Okay. The filing notes that no one at Disney intervened and her assigned on-set guardian was separated from her for the vast majority of each day. I mean, I saw this shit. This is so true. To be honest with you, even the parents I remember the parents on Zoe 101 literally having to ask for a monitor over where they sat. They're supposed to be there's a rule of sight or sound. You have to be able to hear your kid or see your kid, right? Or a guardian has to see their kid or hear their kid. There were times the parents were just put in these with their chairs, like away from Video Village. Didn't make room in Video Village for the parents to watch over their kids. Hell no. I'm sorry, but no. That is not what I personally saw on set, okay? I saw a lot of the time the parents were in the way of production. The parents were kind of this like out of sight, out of mind situation and whatever. Okay? That's just what I witnessed, what I've experienced. So when I'm hearing that's not shocking to me. It's not shocking to me to hear that any kind of separation was happening because I saw it firsthand myself on sets. Very aware of it. Saw it. They never went up to even my friend even on Children of the Corn. He was in the trailer and I was on set. And you know what happened to me on Children of the Corn? I'm going to tell you something. This is a true story. The actor that played in Children of the Corn, he was a redhead. This is true story. So we got my guardian somewhere else. They didn't make sure he was on set watching over me. No, they didn't. And I'm on set and there was a scene, I forget, I'm like pregnant. It's inside almost like a mechanic or I can't really remember it. I'm standing there and I forget what he has to do. And instead of doing nothing, which is what he was supposed to do, he literally, he's an adult. He's over age. I'm pretty sure he's over the age of 18 and I'm a minor and he pulls me and kisses me. Okay? This is a true story. This was on set. The director was there. Everybody was on set. And this older, and he just felt he wanted to do it. And he was kind of like hitting on me in the makeup room trailer and like all this stuff. I forget his freaking name. I don't even want to remember his name, honestly. But they let him on set do that. And obviously afterwards they did go up to him and they were like, you cannot do that. Like this was not in the script. This was not in the script. This was not, whatever. And he was like, I just got so into the character because I was a pregnant Amish. I'm pretty sure it was his baby in the movie. This movie's ridiculous right now, okay? I'm like, I'm pregnant, his baby, and I'm 14 years old. I'm playing a 14-year-old pregnant Amish girl in a movie. This is what Hollywood is, you guys. And he literally, I will never forget it. He pulled me and kissed me. And I remember being like this, like, because that was not in the script. That was not in the scene. And dude, there was no talk with me to make sure that I was okay. There was no nothing. And my guardian was not there. I don't even know where he was. Okay. This is just one of my stories. One of my stories. God, that really brought back memories. Like, to be honest with you guys, I really haven't thought much about that until like right now. And I think I was 16. Yeah, I was 16 years old. And this actor just felt like the improvise with a minor like that. And I don't know where my guardian is. Okay, so let's just really think about this on-set environment. That what it's like. I mean, the guardian separation thing, I understand it from my own personal experience. Obviously, I was not here when it comes to the proof point. Obviously, I was not there. But when I'm hearing these words, and I think this is why it's really important for each child star and former child star that says a piece of their own story, it really does make us feel less alone. And it does build this really interesting, like, I don't know, there's a chain, a golden chain there. Because we really felt alone in this stuff for a very, very long time, sometimes our whole life. And remember, when it comes to the average person coming forward about, child essay, okay, is 52 years old, okay? And usually it's more frequently closer to 60 years old. And imagine if this person was unfortunately essayed when they were very, very young. That's almost a century it can take on average for a survivor to come forward. So I don't want to hear any of this fucking shit, okay, of, well, why now and this and that and that. You need to really look at the statistics of things as well, and hold some space and some understanding of maybe somebody else's story that you were not a part of and that you were not involved in, right? But when it comes to child stars, each of us saying something about our experiences when we sometimes feel like we have no other choice, right? We don't feel like we have any other choice. Who else is going to do it? Who else? But each time we do, we're making each other feel more equipped to be able to tell the other person to say something and the other person to say something. But at the end of the day, the next move is going to have to be reform. And there is going to have to be some actual, I want to become a part of it. I want to know how to do it. I'm going to start focusing on that. That is something that I really do care about. Is how do we make these sets safer for children? How do we do it? And I think number one, though, you guys, is listening to them while they are alive, okay? Like really listening to us and our experiences. And what we have to say about it. And okay, sometimes, by the way, we're going to have real big feelings about it, the same way that you might have real big feelings about something personal in your life that the world will never see a glimpse of. And unfortunately, we have to be in front of the world having big feelings about certain things. And I would hope that just is not the main focus of these conversations, and that it's not. That the main focus is what led to this big feeling, what led to these circumstances, what led to a unaliving, what led to this, and how can we actively not only change it for the future, but how can we listen and support those that thing happened to them in the past. In the past. Because it still is part of their life and it's still part of their future. And we really need to understand that. Oh God, I'm sweating. Okay, so Mark Curry. Let's so I was looking him up, like obviously. I'm like, who is this guy? And I found this clip of Mark Curry. Let's see. Okay, so I found this clip and it says comedian Mark Curry talks about Bill Cosby. I'm like, what could he possibly have to say about Bill Cosby? Because, like, you know, what could he say? And I wasn't expecting this. Okay, so let's listen to Mark Curry. I guess this was 11 years ago, and this is him talking about Bill Cosby. All right. Yes, I have a fan, and it is working overtime right now, you guys. I appreciate you. Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry, guys. Let me make sure that I'm not doubling up. All right. So here we go. So let's
talk about talking trash, friends with Bill Cosby. What's been your take on, these, like, at least 50 women that have come out?
I don't even talk about it. He's my mentor, Bill Cosby. When I first came into the league,
Wait, what?
When I first came into the league, he was the first person I called. He answered the phone. He talked to me.
All right. So Mark Curry here is saying that his mentor, the first person going into this industry, I guess, was Bill Cosby. Yeah, there were a lot. I would say there were a lot of allegations against Bill Cosby. As she says right here, I think it was 50 women, maybe more. The allegations were pretty brutal, pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
He took me under his wing, told me what to do. And so, I look at it as, it's a tragedy. I look at it as like a Paul Robeson, that they're wiping the man's legacy away.
Wait. Hold on. What? Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. He's trying to say that the women coming forward about Bill Cosby, the reported survivors coming forward about Bill Cosby, the way that he looks at it is that they are wiping that it's wiping a man's legacy. What a weird way of looking at that. That is a fucking it's just a weird way of looking at that. That would be the last way, that is such a weird. To think about this is besides the point right now. Cool. Okay. Bill Cosby's Bill Cosby. But now we have women coming forward and saying that Bill Cosby allegedly has done something to these women. And it's bad. It was, if I remember correctly, wasn't it DRUG? I remember it being pretty terrible allegations. I think the last thing that I would be thinking about is his legacy. That's the last thing I'd be thinking about, but that's just me. But I don't really like this per se. It's not giving me a good feeling listening to this. Weird.
Man, they just take your legacy away from you. Which is incredible. And so I'm looking at it from that point of view. How do I not go down that road?
Right.
And, I'm trying to stay biased on the situation. I don't know what's happening. And it has affected me mentally because, again, as a black man, you don't have too many role models. So, here's one of your role models being, deflated in front of you and just wiping his legacy off the earth.
Okay, but this is not the point. The point is not about the legacy being wiped off the earth. The point of the story is that he could possibly be dangerous and allegedly has been for women that were around him or met him. The last thing I'm thinking about is the legacy of the individual. The first thing I'm thinking about is the safety of people around that person. Again, yeah, it's alleged. A lot of alleged, okay? But alleged. Regardless, the first thing I'm thinking about is, is this safe? Is this safe? This is the problem with this industry. Right there, for me personally. It's like, this is how we feel all. It's just, it's so backwards to me. It's like the point of being on set and all of these things is to be safe and to feel safe and just safety. Safety is important, okay? And it's like anytime these things get brought up, it's always the 50 women that are ruining somebody's legacy. Instead of like maybe the 50 women are trying to make the world safer. You know? It upsets me just this way, his view of this is like very like, huh. Okay. Got to look at it a little bit differently. Let's keep going. Let's keep listening to what he has to say.
Right, and not
Somebody's mad
even
at him.
a personal role model, but a role model as a character.
Yeah, as a character. So you got to just look at in society, you know, that this man is being railroaded some type of way.
Mm-hmm. What?
I don't know what he did. I wasn't there. Right. I'm not defending anybody. But
Wait, but you are kind of defending. I mean, but hold on. He's being railroaded. The dude is being accused of crazy allegations here. Okay, very, very, very upsetting, disgusting, disturbing allegations here. Not even 5 women, not even 10 women. She just said there are 50 women. 50 women. First of all, one's enough to start listening, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 50. 50. And the conversation here is about him being railroaded. I don't like it. Okay? I don't like finding this video. I don't like it. As a survivor, I don't like it. I don't know what survivor would like listening to this. This is very strange. And it's really, in my personal opinion, should not be how it is. It really shouldn't. It's like you can say this a whole bunch of different ways. He said, he started it with, I don't even talk about it. It's like, well, then don't. If you don't, shouldn't be talking about it because this is, I don't like this. This is crazy. For me personally, in my opinion, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I just look at it as like a Paul Robeson situation. Here you got a man and they're going to wipe his legacy away.
Right.
Okay, you know what though? Like, hey, let me tell you. Okay, this is kind of getting my skin a little bit. Like, whoop. Okay. When let's say somebody has done it. Okay. Let's say this person goes to jail. Blah 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 blah. All right. Talking about a separate situation outside of Bill Cosby. Okay. If somebody were to come up to me and say, boo-hoo, this person, this person's legacy was wiped, I would probably say to them, then maybe if you are also concerned, including him, about his legacy, then don't do it. Then don't do it. And keep your legacy intact. That's my personal opinion of stuff like that. When it comes to the legacy thing and the this and the that, no one cares less about their legacy than the person who does something so fucking horrendous to another individual that it ends up tarnishing their legacy. That person disrespected their legacy more than anybody could. The action itself destroyed their legacy. 1 + 1 = 2. We're living in a real world out here, okay? And again, these are allegations with Bill Cosby, but I just don't like that type of conversation that comes up where it's like this convo about the legacy versus the 50 women or safety protocols and all these different things, especially within an industry. Because we have him, Mark Curry in the industry, we have Bill Cosby, we got people in this industry that this is the conversation that they're having about something that is deeply alarming and should be investigated and should be looked into and should be concerning. And the legacy is really the last thing we need to be thinking about. We need to be thinking about people's safety first, legacy last. People's safety first, legacy last. Just like people's safety first, money last. Sorry. It upsets me. Having big feelings about it.
Legacy. So, it seems like, it's almost, I don't want to bring the racial issue into it, but, I've never seen this happen to a white guy. And, Cosby I don't know if it was because he was coming back,
Right.
I don't know if he was going to try to run for president. Did he diss Donald Trump?
Wait, now it's coming into a conspiracy theory. That was kind of strange. So now it's going into because Bill Cosby might run for president. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. That just got a little bit out there for me personally. It's like all of a sudden now it's because Bill Cosby might be running for president. And also, hello, Justice Gypsy. Welcome to the Munchies. I'm sorry though. Like, how did it get over there? It's like, I don't know how these 50 women might be working for the government. It's like the government, bro, what are you talking about right now? Why are all these things? Let's kind of back it up. Let's get a little bit more grounded in reality. And let's start with just the allegations, take it from here. Let's see how the court systems roll. Let's take some steps here. But it really went quickly into, I don't know, Epstein. Jesus, yeah. Okay, well, let's listen for a little bit more, and then we're done here with this guy for a second, because that was just too much for me personally.
What was it? But it was something.
Yes, and okay, so you were on the Loonies album, and you were talking about 420. What's your thoughts on legalizing?
Okay, and then it goes into marijuana. Okay, classic right now. So I finding this video, like, I don't really understand it. I'm not really a fan of people that go around talking about or concerning themselves more with the legacy of alleged perpetrators versus, I think what should be centered is the safety. First, and listening to what the women have to say, or the men have to say, or the boys have to say, or they have to say, whatever the person has to say about their personal experience, seeing it through. That's it. That didn't feel good as a survivor listening to that. So, I mean, that was pretty much the only, the rest I could find were comedy clips, I guess, of Mark Curry. But that just really stood out to me and didn't make me feel good. Just didn't make me feel good. I'm glad you're back. It's been way too long. Astro Girl, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I can't believe I am back. I mean, honestly, this is just a conversation. I have no choice here. I mean, this needs to change, you guys. The change needs to begin now. Child stars, former child stars, we really need to start supporting one another now more than ever. The more that we speak on this, we need to feel like we have each other's back and that we're listening to each other, and that we're hopefully being able to tell our own personal stories to make people understand what this environment was like for us. And it's just so it's just so important. I really can't begin to say it. I don't want to hear another story of losing. I mean, I want you guys to look at Raquel when she was 14 years old here, okay? This was her from the Amanda show. And I know we're seeing a lot of photos of her as an adult in these articles, but this is Raquel. This is the Raquel in this complaint. And we just got to start listening to child stars and supporting them speaking about their personal experiences. And again, if you want to know the why, I keep seeing it. Everyone's trying to help and figure out why. We're telling you why. Okay? We are more and more telling you the whys and just listening, supporting the child stars, past, present, and future, that are speaking up and telling their own personal stories about what they've experienced is such a start, okay? And it means a lot. It means a lot. Our childhoods matter. Our childhoods absolutely matter. And now we're older and we can, like you and I, even through this camera right now, we can speak up for the child version of ourselves that in many different situations did not feel like they could. And it's really empowering. I feel really empowered by it because I remember what it felt like as a kid to not feel safe and to not feel like you could say what was happening and feel like you might get punished or you would get punished or you did get punished for speaking up for yourself. I know what my child self had to go through. And now I'm an adult and I'm a mom, had a whole lot of life experience. And not only do I want to speak up for her, little Alexa, but speak up for everyone that has been hurt or harmed when they were a child and didn't feel safe to come forward about it and felt like the industry was not on their side. That's a very important mission for me personally. And like I said, the actress thing for me is long gone, right? But again, it is such an honor to sit in this chair and be able to say what I just said right now. And so on that note, I'm going to be protesting Disney. That's right. But this protest is going to be very different than my usual protests. Yeah, it's going to be different. And I have a special guest that, it's crazy. He called me up and I honestly couldn't even believe that he called me back. And he is going to be showing up and protesting Disney. And, you know, apparently, not apparently, it's somebody that Disney knows really, really well. Really well. And this is not going to be a typical protest where there's going to be flyers. I'm just going to randomly, very soon, be going live and you're going to see everything that's going down. I'm going to keep it very whatever. But it's about to happen. And the reason why I am protesting Disney is because regardless of obviously me being there, me not being there, whatever the situation is when it comes to a child star coming forward about their personal experience, I know what I have witnessed enough to listen to what another child star, former child star has to say and to take it seriously. To take it in, to reflect on it. And then next is to make sure they fucking feel supported, okay? Because we didn't. We never felt supported. And it's time for us to feel supported. And we have each other. And that is the best feeling in the whole wide world, is to have each other. And so I want this industry to change. And again, these are all allegations. I was not there. But I was there within the entertainment industry and within child networks when I was a child, and I had my own personal experiences, my own personal stories, and I wanted to change. And I don't want to wake up another morning where I am reading that we have lost another former child star. I am done with it, and I will be so upset if this goes into the future. I don't want to find out what the next wave of the problems are. I don't. And there's always going to be, but it's like, we need to start now preventing this from happening again and making sure that the past child stars feel supported, feel listened to, and that people start actively trying to change this for the better. Really matters. So that's all I can do for today. I am in like 200 degrees right now, but you know, maybe next week I will be coming in again and let's get into a little bit more of the weeds of these different things. But yeah, this for now. And please, you know, yeah, just you being here is awesome. I was going to say something and it's like, whoever is here right now, like whoever is listening, rad. Super rad that you're here. Aw, wait, what does this say? I know $5 isn't, oh, you do not have to do that, Romam. I know $5 isn't much, but I want to say I fully support you, your channel, and the message you're trying to get across. Fuck Disney, obviously. You're all, thank you so much for showing support here. And then, wait, member for 33 months. Thank you for creating a community buy-in for survivors, Alexa. You're welcome. It's an honor, honestly. Even after all the pain. Ugh. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. And again, you know, please, if you can, keep sharing, and supporting, former child stars, voices and stories, and amplifying them and making sure that they feel supported. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? I'll help it anyway. Thank you so much, Astro Girl. And getting out of here is going to be crazy. And by the way, Raquel is a very, like, you know, I love Raquel. And I do want to say one last thing about my friend Raquel is, Raquel, you are so inspiring and amazing. I don't want to get emotional. So amazing, and Godspeed for you, truly. Godspeed for you. And we are going to be watching and listening to it all. Love you, Raquel. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.